you know, it's all made up. Yeah, it's made up with just logical sense. It's made up, but it makes sense. You know? It's based on how many mindsets they have. Scarlett in the top right-hand side and Nightmare in the bottom left as we kickstart today's World Team League. Is the Hero Wars button in an okay place? Yeah, I'll just resize it a little bit. Perfect. And yeah, hello everybody. How are we doing today? Hope you're all feeling good. Hope you're ready for some StarCraft. And I certainly am. I feel like we're going to have a good one today. Looking forward to it and excited to see what we get into, get to come out of today, actually. Should be, like I say, quite a fun one. As we get ourselves set up here, we have our probe just going to come on a little venture through this top right-hand side, see what's going on. And, yeah, just going to see an extractor going down over on the main base as well. So nothing too wild to begin with, as Nightmare's webcam has died. No, we lost Nightmare. Alright, well, Nightmare's webcam disappears, but we got to see a little glimpse of the players at least. If that's not exciting, I don't know what is. Obviously a best game of a best of 2, of a best of 7 overall, of course, and like I say, should be a whole bundle of fun today. Really, I'm looking forward to, actually. I do think these matches are pretty fun, and should, like I say, be pretty enjoyable. Looks like we've got the backup Nightmare plan. Kind of awkward because he's in the Team NV jersey on the camera, but alas, such is life sometimes, guys. Sometimes not everything lines up as you wanted to. Production teams probably like, why don't we have a Nightmare in a GP jersey? And everyone's like, Nightmare joined GP? What? Wait, when? What? How? That's how I imagine it going down right now. That's how I'm feeling as well. I'm like, God, when did Nightmare join Team GP? That one just snuck under my radar, if nothing else. So yeah, Nightmare part of GP. Obviously, he left NV. Everyone left NV. Unfortunately, the team disbanding. Oh, only kind of sticking together as like a clan, not like a proper team or whatever. So, yeah, Nightmare getting a new team along with all the rest. Like I say, too cool to see him end up here and might be able to boost GP a little bit. Get them out of that bottom 2 relegation sort of zone that they lingered in the majority of the last 2 seasons. Not that they really, well, I mean, they had that great run where they potentially nearly made playoffs that time as well. But GP originally were a team that you didn't expect much from, but they have picked it up a lot over the last couple seasons, in fairness. GP have delivered more than expected, that's for sure. What's up, D-Mad Cat? How you doing? Morning all. Hello, hello, hello. Nightmare gonna open Dark Shrine here. Let me know how you all doing. Let me know how we're all feeling. Like I say, good to be here today, bringing you guys some StarCraft 2s. And yeah, just hoping that you guys will enjoy. I think we should head in for a good bit of fun, honestly. Throughout the day, as we do have a couple queens out on the front of the third base. So they're just going to be hanging around there. Dark Shrine on its way in as well. And yeah, just a couple lings hanging out the front also. So a lot of different bits and pieces just hanging around. Set up for the moment. Just waiting for this Dark Shrine to get into play and really waiting to see if Scarlett is going to be able to deal with that. Or if she's going to fall victim to it. Hey, what's up, Tech9? Thank you so much for the 10-month resub on the Prime to start us off on the subs today. Much appreciated. Oh yeah, I appreciate it a lot. Feeling good? Or just got over COVID? Ugh, well, that sucks, but, well, I mean, it doesn't suck that you got over it. It sucks that you had it. Or someone's like, what, he wants people to have COVID? Ah. How am I doing? I am good. I'm good, yeah. I had to go out this morning, visit the accountant for a little bit, and stuff like that, but yeah, honestly, yeah, that's good. Point is reasonable. You're supposed to be working, Ishkiara. That's okay. You just work while watching StarCraft, right? That makes sense. Multitasking, it's a skill. I mean, as a StarCraft fan, you should be able to multitask, because the first DT does quite literally nothing. Unfortunately, it's a complete disaster, and the second one, not going to do much better. At least this one doesn't die, but yeah, the initial DT play is uninspiring, to say the least, quite frankly. Definitely was expecting at least a little bit of something from the DTs. This really was just nothing at all. Completely disastrous on the opening setup. And I can say a little bit of a shame there, as we will just continue on into then our next stage of this game, which So Nightmare is just a bunch of gateways. He's got charge already as well, so already having charge on his side, that's something he should be able to utilize. We'll see if he can put it to good use or not. Also working while keeping the sweet sound of Wardy's voice in the background. Hell yeah. Nice, nice, nice. One Nightmare, yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, just losing the DT, I mean, not doing much is one thing. Losing one is something else, because then you're missing like half an Archon, essentially. Just wasn't the prettiest of openings, and now it feels like you want to hit like an Archon charge lot attack, but doing that when you've not successfully dealt damage with the first wave of it is obviously just going to be so much more difficult, and I think that's the real problem that sits in play right now. And we just don't really have a good answer to that, as we'll get the Overlord here again picked up. Obviously Scarlett keeping up very good information throughout this so far, so really able to just keep things in her favor in that regard. As we drop a Robo Bay down, Nightmare will be looking towards that Robo Bay in the future for his continued tech. Archon's is going to come straight through the middle of the map, getting a queen as they go. Now coming to the front, a couple of queens, some roaches going to start taking some damage. This is the attack we've been talking about. We lose an Archon so early, though. Really, just less than ideal once again for Nightmare. Not the opening he's looking for. And just having, once more, a slight disaster at the start of this game. Scarlett is just all over everything Nightmare is trying to do. And Nightmare is just not doing anything about it. Scarlett, on this small map, has creeped basically all the way across as well. And now she's just building units to attack herself. And I do not blame her. It feels like that Robo Bay needs to come into play right now. We need some disruptors or something to actually fend this army off. Are we going to have anything of the sorts? Well, that's what we wait to find out now, as we are going to be seeing Scarlett come to the front. The first disruptor, I believe, is on its way. As we see some additional Stalkers as well. This army of Nightmare, well, just isn't very scary right now. And the problem is the roaches get on top of it. The Archons go down before the battery can do any healing. A few Banes to help soften things up. Stalkers from the other side, I don't think are going to necessarily be making the difference. Come through, we knock down the super battery as well, and everything on the third base in trouble. The Disruptor, I don't even think fired. I think just walked down this ramp to its death. Unfortunately, then the Disruptor has gone down as well, and just another loss here early on as Scarlett is looking to take the first game of the day here for the Shopify Rebellion and put them in a strong spot against Team GP. Scarlett gets the first W, and honestly making it look pretty freaking simple, because that was a little bit disastrous start to finish from Nightmare, unfortunately. That was less than ideal, is, I believe, how we phrase that. We'll see if she can bring more of the same in game number 2. Ready to go. As in the bottom right-hand side, our purple Zerg, blue Zerg is going to be Scarlett. We never play in purple. I don't know where that came from. In the top left side, Nightmare, Rent, Protoss player from Team GP. Maybe just because the creep spread's purple. This match seems very doable for Rebellion. This match should be very doable for the Rebellion. Especially considering where the Rebellion have been in the last few seasons. They 100% expect to be up toward the top of the league. So yeah, they definitely believe they can beat GP, who at best GP recently, in the past have caused upsets for sure, but they've still only, after causing upsets, contended for playoffs. They've not even really made playoffs, right? So yeah, GP are just not quite the... Yeah, not quite the kind of the step. GP are kind of a... I don't want to be harsh, but GP are just not meant to be competition for a team who have done as well as Shopify in the past. And like I say, GP can cause upsets, but if you want a good run in this league, a team like the Rebellion need to be taking down Team GP. And I'm pretty sure they know that as well. I'm pretty sure that's how they look at this series as well, so... Yeah. Hatch gas pool is going to be brought on in, as we do have our Nexus and our Cybercore building up from Nightmare. Anyway, to see what Nightmare's build's going to be here. Obviously opting for the Dark Shrine, no Robo last game. A little bit of a unique one, something very different to the norm, to the usual things that we see. So that was, like I say, very different, very, a little different way of playing. And obviously, yeah. would not expect him to do the same thing twice when you open with something like that. You know, obviously if you're playing something like a, if you're playing something more like, you know, natural, like a Stargate opener, sure, do it repeatedly, do it twice. If you're playing Glaives, maybe you do it twice, but, yeah, I mean, already he's your robo-based opening, so it's still a bit unique. It's not quite what you usually expect to see still, but it is still kind of more on track for, compared to that last game, I suppose. So yeah, the super fast robo to begin with here. It's like Pro League, except Pro League was nothing like this. It's like Pro League, but instead of them playing best of one, they play 2 maps. So you're not wrong. It is exactly like Pro League. It's just half the players, and the players play 2 times as many maps. It's actually a very good way of explaining it, to be honest. If people are familiar with Pro League, I guess. If they're not familiar with Pro League, then I guess it's a terrible way of explaining it. Yeah, it's like this thing that you've never heard of. It's just different. It's like, wait, but I didn't know what it was in the first place. Well, that's okay, because it's different. Whoa. So smart. So we're going to go into that Robo Bay. We're getting a Prism out as well. So this generally suggests that we're seeing a Disruptor drop opening. Something that Zaun obviously loved to do for a while. This to me is just not the map for it though. Cosmic Sapphire is much more of a macro map than anything. At least a 3 base map. This oftentimes can lead into something of a 2 base attack and 2 base timing. So I gotta say I'm a little surprised by Nightmare's choices so far, and I'm very interested to see where Nightmare's choices are going to lead him, because, yeah, I mean, obviously the Disruptor has a lot of potential. You get a lot of map control with this Prism, but I'm not sure if he wants to go for the 2-base all-in variation of this, that's really going to succeed for him. Maybe he just does play the kind of the macro style of this, and you do just expand out of it, and you go from there. 100% a possibility. It's absolutely something you can do. So there are options given to you here. As the Prism takes a couple of Disruptors, it's going to be moving out. Well, it's just coming through, getting set to go. Our Prism is trying to get across a few Queens. Getting a location, the Disruptors fire. We're going to get 2 Queens killed pretty much immediately, so it's going to grab those, and the Prism pulls back into the center of the map. Obviously, Disruptors would love to find the big chunk of drones, or just anything, really, dropping off there. I assume we just didn't quite have the energy or the timing on the cooldown. They hunt down another Queen for the moment, and this is very absorbable damage from Scarlett. She looks at this and probably says, yeah, this is fine. This is not really an issue. So far, so good. What was that Disruptor shot? I understand that one turned around and tried to protect itself, does die. But the other one just went into the middle of nowhere on the mineral line. Almost, I guess he was distracted or trying to busy himself elsewhere. That was not it at all, though, for Nightmare. This is turning into quite a disaster, and Scarlett is just going to have a game where she can now drone up very comfortably. She can get all the units out that she wants, and I imagine we're going to see some pretty aggressive busts from Scarlett in 2-3 minutes from now when she gets her upgrades in play. I feel like this is one of those games where you start attacking and you just don't stop as the Zerg, because why stop when your opponent is likely going to be on the run? Because I'm just hanging out on the right. And as you see, our Disruptor's going to unload and go towards a couple of these Queens here. Disruptors will fire through, but not land on anything again. The Disruptors have been, honestly, kind of lacking so far this game. They've not been that impressive. And you look at the production tab, we just saw Warp and Stalkers. We see another Disruptor added in. It kind of feels like it's just going to be this army or die trying from Nightmare. He's not building into anything else to improve the future of his game. Yeah, the extra splash damage is nice, but there's no upgrades here. There's no secondary tech being set up into. And these are all things which should indicate that Scarlett is going to have to play defense now. Okay, Scarlett. It takes a few moments to get set up against this, and obviously, you know, was building a lot of drones as well, so she's been pretty greedy. She's been pretty non-stop in just setting up her economy. Let's see if that's something which will hurt her now, if she can indeed just get enough units out to defend against this. I feel pretty okay for her. I feel like she should be alright. But let's find out as our first group team are going down. Disruptor shot off to the side. The Roach Ravager just about dodging away from that for the moment. As we come, just going to be seeing the Roach Ravager coming back through. Currently taking quite a few shots off that one Colossus. If there was like 2 or 3 Colossus, like Scarlett would have taken a lot of free damage here. Her army supply is just not really there at all, in fact, and it looks as though Nightmare might have a golden ticket right now. I think Scarlett got a little bit too caught up on the fact that Nightmare had built a 3rd base, but he never really got good saturation on it or anything, or, you know, he never really intended to use it to kind of keep playing a long game. Here comes some Banes. Right now, I really feel like these Disruptors don't know what to shoot at as well. The Colossus will go down. We blink forward again as Nightmare. Scarlett's army supply, like I say, just is not here. And I think it was, she just went to too many drones before this attack to stabilize, and it's not going to happen, and it is going to be 1-1 as Nightmare gets a W. It will tie up in this series. And here in Tropical Sacrifice for some TVP action as we continue to bring you World Team League action today. Let's get to this one, as in the top right-hand side, the Shopify Rebellion's Beyond will look to see if he can get 2-0 to put them up onto match point. In the bottom left-hand side, we do have our Red Protoss player from Team GB. It is Prince. Thank you, a couple of guys coming in and dropping the level 10s on Hero Wars. We're going to be playing Hero Wars later today. If you want to check it out, ! Hero Wars in the chat. It takes about 5 minutes or so. There or thereabouts. Maybe someone in the chat can confirm how long it took them, but it takes about 5 minutes to hit level 10. And if you hit level 10, and enough people hit level 10, we hit payout rewards. With those payout rewards, as per usual when we do stuff like this, we love to put on StarCraft 2 tournaments with it. So if you're enjoying the stream and you would like to see some more StarCraft 2 events, do consider just checking out Hero Wars. You don't even have to download it. It is just a browser game if you want to just play it on your PC, if you're sat at a PC right now. Like I say, it takes about 5 minutes or so. Our first real goal is to get 90 people to level 10. That would be our first payout reward. And if we do that, we can run a StarCraft tournament of about $250. If we get all 270 people on the counter, we will run a maybe $750 to $1,000 tournament. So yeah, if you get through, hit level 10, you will count as a level 10. How can you see it if it worked? Well, if you did it, then it probably already went up at some point. I'm not sure if it shows your name when it goes up, but it does go up. And it has been going up for people as they hit level 10, so sometimes it takes like a minute or two after you hit level 10, but yeah, it does get there. So yeah, we're at 7 already. Today's the main day to push it, but we do have a few days after as well. That'd be awesome if we could hit all 270. And like I said, unlock the bonuses and run a bonus StarCraft tournament would be amazing. So do check that out as I'm just filling some early game moments here. Managed to talk about that for way longer than I thought I was going to. And that's we're a couple minutes in here on Tropical Sacrifice, but there's honestly not too much going on just yet, right? It's pretty chill for the moment. Comes through. You're going to grab a probe. Just going to see the Stargate on the way up from Prince. Is just going to get that going. A Reaper, a couple of Reapers wanting to try and maybe go after a Zealot there, but not quite going to be able to go after it. So a couple of Reapers. It's going to continue to put some pressure on. We're going to go 3rd Reaper and a Hellion here. So a lot of pressure of Bjorn before he actually expands. Obviously expansion just now starting, and we'll see if the 3 Reapers and a Hellion together will be able to combine for some effective damage here. Let's see what will go on as we get set up into the center. Just going to have our Warp Gate coming through. The Stargate is going to be finishing in a moment as well. As we move up that ramp, we had an Adept right there. I was able to just turn that around and stop this going any further for the moment. Hopping up and hopping down. Let's have our Phoenix on the way out. The warp gate is still coming along. And just going to be seeing ourselves moving into our Cyclone production. It is a Stargate out of Prince, so obviously a Cyclone and anti-Stargate units are typically going to be very useful, very nice. As a little Reaper Grenade drops down, really just trying to fight here with these early units, trying to clean out a couple of the Zealots, but I feel like that doesn't really gain anybody anything, right? A couple of Zealots going down doesn't change much for Prince. Doesn't change much for Bjorn losing the Reaper Hellion, I would say. And now just going to go Raven in a second Cyclone. So very tech-heavy, actually, out of Bjorn in the early stages. Continuing to build into just, like I say, that Raven, that Cyclone. All with that for now. There's the Aruba facility then coming up at the front as we continue through. I'm just going to be seeing our Starport going to lift off the tech lab, and just going to see both the tech labs going to be freed up for barracks so we can start getting some bio upgrades here as well, I imagine. Makes a lot of sense, of course, as well. So just going to start seeing a little bit of that. And otherwise, we do have ourselves just the engineering bay, the racks, all continuing through for the moment. The Phoenix is going to go patrolling a little bit. Yeah, like I say, get those bio upgrades started, because you know that that's going to be the next major part of this game for Bjorn. Bio upgrades are almost always a critical part of his game plan, and today should be absolutely no different right here. Full wall off, just gonna, about to be a full wall off, just trying to make sure that there's not going to be any sort of harassment hitting his front doorstep for a while. Bjorn is also going to be able to start moving across the map, though. He is at the point now where he's got all of his units joined up together. If he wants to go with a couple Cyclones and some Marines early, I guess not really looking like it's going to be one of those attacks, though, considering we've got the upgrades on the way. It's kind of way too late now for something like that, isn't it? Getting my brain mixed up with the timings. As we have a lock on here to a Phoenix, and well, we do just about take the shields off of it, but not much more than that for now. Phoenix try to do well here as they move into the main base, getting some reinforcements for free, and that's exactly what you're looking for. As the Cyclones get a lock on again, that at least is a dead Phoenix, so there is a little bit of punishment that Bjorn is able to apply to Prince. Able to get at least a little bit done right there. Our additional gateways will come on through. Probes, Colossus, extended thermal lance, all still being added in as our Cyclone's locking on again and still looking for a Phoenix. Not quite able to get there though. Again, a couple of Cyclones are just going to be able to come through with that lock on. We do start to stem forward, Immortal. Taking a little bit further damage again as our Bio Army is going to have the Autotos to help boost it up. Good Matrix on the Colossus in the bottom left as well. That Super Battery not really in range of much as the Phoenix eats a Widowmine shot. I feel like that hit a bit of the Bio as well. Don't know if Bjorn really has the power to keep on going right here and now, but I mean, he's done decent damage anyway, right? As he gets rid of a few extra Zealots, gets rid of that final pylon that's on this third base. I felt like Bjorn was doing okay, but like I say, nothing really game-changing, not too spectacular, all really said and done. As we do now drop a gateway down at the top side, and that's where Prince is going to start setting up a counter of his own. I mean, if he gets to a few Colossus, very plausible that he could maybe do something against a Bjorn that's underprepared. Bjorn has killed a lot of Phoenix this game, though, so the Colossi are not going to be supported as well as they would like to be. That Phoenix count getting high is obviously one of the things that can really go very well for you as the Protoss player. Bjorn is just coming across the map with another pretty ginormous force. Gets rid of the probe initially. It's going to be seen after units of Prince start to move down that ramp, see if they can get involved in much, but not really. I mean, really, Prince shouldn't be wanting to go too far forward at all right now. I feel like that's worst case scenario for him at the moment, so I suppose let's see as our Bio Army will turn around. I mean, again, there's no Phoenix here, but the Colossi doing okay. We have kept this Raven alive still. Once that gets the NG4 Matrix, that might make quite the difference in a fight. It's also 1-1 to 0-0 on the upgrades, favoring Beyond. And those upgrades should be a pretty sizable advantage in a fight. Zealots don't have charge, so they look kind of hopeless themselves. Honestly, they do not look great. As we do drop the Matrix, this would be the time for Beyond to go against just one Colossus. He's already low HP on so many of these units, though. It's definitely a part of the problem. And Colossus dove forwards a couple of times, almost giving itself up for free. As we get rid of 10 SCVs, but this Bio Army will be down on top of the Colossus and clearing up, and that of course is very important. Clearing out the tech units here should mean that from this point on against just gateway units, you should be okay, because you're also rocking that that upgrade advantage. With the upgrade lead, I don't see a world in which Beyond should really be in too much trouble. 1-1 against 0-0 gateway versus Bio. But yeah, everything just stands in Beyond's favor there. As yeah, we recall, we lose 2 of the Stalkers recall, and we lose a couple of units that didn't get caught in the recall. Again, none of this was really very good at all for Prince. As Prince will be in quite a bit of trouble, I would say, coming out of this. Let's see, Beyond now pushing over the left-hand side and start summoning forward, going after these Stalkers. Well, Zealots as well, also taking quite some hits. The Vikings will get rid of a Phoenix up in the skies. It just really isn't what Prince needs to hold on. He's got less than 15 army supply at this stage. And that is GG from Prince. Beyond is going to retake the lead for the Shopify Rebellion today against Team GP, putting them back up in front once again. We'll see if he can let this series, let this best of 2 end with them in the front. Something he's gotten so much better over the last year or two, Beyond. It's been great to see his progress again. As in the top left is Shopify Rebellion's Beyond here on Moondance. Taking on in the bottom right, our red Protoss player from Team GP. It's Prince, who has had some wacky PvT games in the World Team League in the past. I definitely think back of his series or his game against Maru. That was a legendary one. If you missed that, that's probably on my YouTube if you type in Prince Cannon Rushes Maru or something. WardiTV. That was a great game. And I can tell you it's a cannon rush without fear, because it was so much more than the cannon rush. The cannon rush was just the starting point. In fact, there's a forge going down right now. I suppose I was maybe alluding to it just because the probe was across the map early, but there is a forge going down, so cannon rush it will be here from Prince in game number 2. And Beyond doesn't see the initial pylon as the probe moves into the main. How much will this get done? Oh, Beyond places a second Rax down. Wow, that's amazing for Beyond, no? He hasn't seen the pylon. He builds a second Rax. The second Rax is just so good in this situation because he just gets so much more production. One pylon on the high ground as all the SCVs go for the probe kill. They get it. Probe on the high ground goes down. Now he wants to go and kill the other probe off. They're going to actually build a pylon here for high ground vision, but the problem is you will not get anything else built on the high ground because I don't think this probe is going to be allowed in. Because SCVs just hold position. Marine going to be popping out soon enough. As we just want to get rid of that pylon, and I honestly believe we should be able to do that. The thing is, there's no probe here, right? And if there's no probe in the base, then what can you really do? Oh, he's going to target down this depot so that the probe can then get in on the other side, but the pylon is gone, so you're not going to get cannons up on the left. I guess you can from the other pylon. 2 Marines, though, and they're going to put damage out straight away. We're going to lose one to a cannon. Beyond. Oh, supply block right now as well as another Marine pops out. Obviously losing the depot through a spanner in the works to his supply lines. It's a horrible supply block, only just now able to get the depot started as well. Obviously coming at quite the cost there. Do you have then 2 Marines just going to sit here and try and stop anything else coming up on the high ground? That's the most important thing to do right now. A real shame that he lost that other Marine, right? Because just having 1 extra Marine at this point in time would be fantastic. As We do have Prince as a, setting up back at home. Nexus, Gateway. You're going to end up playing a one-base setup for now. It's very possible he just plays kind of Marine Cyclone here and can actually do a lot with that. We've seen that in the past, I feel like, where someone ends up just kind of being forced into the one base when they're playing against like a cannon rush, and then they just come across the map and their attack on one base is just so powerful. A single cannon defensively in late warp gate doesn't cut it when it comes to defending. And Nexus is coming down again as we continue to set up here. Just going to get rid of the pylon up on the high ground, so get rid of that straight away. Yeah, Bjorn just never really let this get out of control, which is obviously exactly what you want. Go Bjorn. Gets rid of the probe. That's the high ground vision, so now these cannons cannot be saved and these Marines can get rid of them. And that means, again, we're pretty much free to go across the map when we want to. It's also a pylon that Prince will lose, although he's built plenty of pylons back at home, so that shouldn't be an issue. He's not going to get supply blocked off of this, it would seem. Why didn't he continue the cannon rush? Well, you can't continue the cannon rush if Bjorn controls the high ground. He tried to build stuff on the high ground, but Bjorn was able to kill it off before it was getting online. Yeah, this is going to be interesting as we see the battery at the front there. The cannon's actually in the mineral line in the main, so I believe no cannon at the front to actually help out. As these Marines move across the map, they'll have a Cyclone supporting very soon. Are we already in a lot of trouble here as Prince? He just now popped out a second Stalker and he starts to get some initial damage done. We could really do with the Cyclone right about now. And it's going to get a lock on, and that's going to be Cyclone taking some hits. Stalker is going to be healed by the battery, but that's obviously energy being spent. And now the other Stalker taking quite a lot of hits as well. Pops the super battery, retargets over the other one. Well, Bjorn at least getting the super battery out is something of a victory. Bjorn now morphing in an orbital command on his second base. Tank and Marine production continuing. Even going to build a bunker though. Not 100% sure about this as the main base fully saturated. And Prince even starting up a third. So Prince 10 workers ahead. Looks to just continue playing a strong macro game at the moment. And Bjorn doesn't really have an answer to that, it feels like. I mean, I honestly thought he would do okay continuing to push, but yeah, now with the two Cyclones, maybe he could, but one of them's hurt, so he wants to get it repaired. It's taken him a while to decide that, so he's kind of missing his opportunity to just go and get stuff done. Now the Cyclone's at least trying to get something done. We've got a while until Blink. Here comes a tank as well, mind you. We really have enough here as Bjorn to, I guess if you can get the, I guess there is a world, right, where this is plausible. Especially if the tank gets some good shots off while sieged. The problem I had was, is the tank ever going to get sieged? Well, yeah, sieges from quite a safe distance in the end. Does kill one Stalker here, the Cyclone lock-on's delivering. Stalker's going down. Cyclone lock-on delivering another super battery, having to be popped. Tank shots definitely helping him. Bjorn reinforcing this position, feeling as though he can just continue to sit here and deal damage. I mean, Blink is now done, so these Stalkers shouldn't have as difficult a time as they were having originally. Should be much more manageable now than it was before. See, the tanks in range of this, though, is going to hurt a little bit. These Stalkers just keep on coming around. Just going to be having our pylon still taking a couple shots of damage right here. Just going to be having our Cyclone continue to pick away at a Zealot. And the Stalker's trying to intercept further reinforcements, but you're losing so much of the front. Here we go. Stim just finished as well, so actually this is fantastic. Bjorn could just stim up, and these Marines would be able to do so much more. Finally, they pressed the stim button. It took a little while to get there, but we did finally activate Yeah, it's a trade-out, but I feel like it's a trade-out you're very okay with if you are Beyond in this moment. I feel like you look at this and just say, yeah, this is kind of fine. This is okay. He lost his tanks, but he killed off a lot of Stalkers, and Stalkers are just super expensive in this situation as well. Stalkers do not come cheap, that's for sure. Well, units just going to get warping in and just going to get ourselves set to push forward while instant cancel on the third base. Is Beyond in some trouble to this immediate counterattack? Combat shield just finished. And I like where Beyond is at in terms of upgrades. He's got a wall, bunker at the front. Obviously, maybe the main vulnerable to Stalkers, but then if the main's vulnerable to Stalkers, it's not like too many Zealots will be able to come with this. Sim4 just immediately to try and push this back. One of the reactors obviously is already taking some amount of damage here, so taking a few shots. Not having the best of times. Five more Zealots is getting warped in. The Road Bay now on the way out as well. Still just going to go pinging through a depot, and Bio units will start to press forward. A couple of Zealots wanting to charge in here. Have that Bioforce chased away. Just going to see extra Zealots in the main base. Is Beyond in trouble? It really seems like he might. I honestly thought he did well enough across the map, but just the sheer number of units being reinforced with right now from Prince is causing issues. He's killed 16 SCVs. The Zealots are still going unchecked in the main, and of course Prince is building a fourth base behind this, while Beyond would love to be kind of up on a third base. He's got a third CC building, but it ain't ready yet. Killing the missile turret here as well, and Beyond just types out GG, and Team GP will keep this series very competitive as Prince ties it up, and it goes 1-1 for 5-10 minutes. It's worth about $3 to a StarCraft 2 prize pool. So if you want to help us out with that, then check out !Heroes in the chat. We'll be playing it on stream a little bit later on. Is in the top left side it's Lambo, in the top right side it's Cham. 2-0 wins it for their team. A 1-1 sends us to a best-of-1 ace match today here in the World Team League, Week 2, Day 2, match number 1. That's where we stand. Exciting stuff, honestly. Kind of been some fun games so far, and definitely looking forward to more. Some of the worlds crossing each other by, as we are here in this first game of ZvZ. It's not been too wild. It's Hatch Gas and Pool. Stargate is an interesting map for ZvZ. I feel like I never see ZvZ on this map. I imagine because the guys don't want to mess around with the in-base expand too much. So, yeah, like I said, it's a map I wouldn't really know what to tell you much about, honestly, when it comes to ZvZ. But what could we apply our knowledge to kind of figure out? It's kind of a large map. Like, there's very obvious pushing directions on this map right through the top side. But you can also take 4 bases pretty easily. Short by air maybe makes it quite good for mutas, especially if your opponent starts taking kind of triangular bases instead of linear bases. The mutas can ping pong between bases amazingly then. Obviously, while you can push through the top, you've got to be careful of counterattacks around the bottom. I don't know, it feels honestly like a map that can give you quite a wild variety of ZvZ games. I wouldn't be expecting just kind of one thing in particular here, in all honesty. So, yeah, kind of intrigued as to what the heck this is going to show us and what these two are going to go into. Because, like I say, I just don't see a lot of ZvZ on Stargates. So I can in theory craft all I like, but in practice, obviously, things typically work out a bit differently. We just don't have really a good way of seeing what that typical kind of setup might be this time. Not yet, at least. Feelings make their way over to the right-hand side. And they're going to find themselves a chance to jump on top of this hatch and start to nibble there for a little bit of damage done. Good morning from Florida. Well, hello, Florida. How you doing? Hope you're feeling good today. Obviously, 2 best of 7s in the World Team League, the first one being this. The second one is Invictus Gaming taking on Dragon Phoenix Gaming. So it's fun to see DPG play, but today's one of those matches you kind of just expect DPG to do very, very well in. That's probably worth keeping in mind, as a couple of Lings just hanging out on the bottom side, and again, it's been pretty passive so far. We do see a difference in third base as Lambo opting for the triangular third setup. Cham opting to just expand down the map. But Scout for Lambo gets in to check what's going on in the main. Sees Ling Speed still researching, so that's just a good update. Doesn't see anything weird, right? I mean, you see the entire the main base and you see, well, nothing at all, right? There's no fast lair, there's no hidden roach roaring. There's nothing to be concerned about as far as Lambo can see right now. There is no reason to be worried based on what is currently being shown. And of course, it's not just what's being shown, but what he's able to see. And he can see everything. So, yeah, Lambo's able to make a good decision for himself here so far. Feelings going after the other Ling. Roach coming up on the side of Lambo. There's going to be a Roach on the other side as well, so it's going to come through from both players here. Got that Roach roaring on the way. So roaches on roaches. Going to be the setup. Just going to be seen on a couple of Banelings going to waddle across elsewhere for the moment as well. It's just going to waddle on over there. And a few of these Lings is going to come back across and get a little bit bangsty with a little bit of Ling Bane action. But and Lambo's just so far ahead on his +1 missiles. He's up 10 drones. What is Cham going to do? I mean, right now, Cham drops himself in at Roach speed, but yeah, faster lair. And what? Like, he is building Roaches. He is still also droning, though. This feels like Cham is kind of taking a kind of the middle of the road approach, doing a bit of this and a bit of that. No, why not that as well? You know, just doing a little bit too much across the board because it's not really adding up to truly an advantageous position for him. In fact, he's been left in a pretty rough spot trying to get out of what is currently a worker deficit. Yeah, his army supply is good, but I was just surprised that he was still building drones for a portion behind it. Now he starts on Nidus, which obviously explains. I mean, he kind of has to be all in, otherwise wouldn't you have at this point already probably done something about the fact that you've got no upgrade on the way? Lambo just needs to stop building drones, start making roaches. Right now, I feel like he doesn't quite know what's going on, so he might just be caught unawares, and he might actually just falter in this first game. And Team GP might be able to take a lead in the series and look to be on the doorstep of an upset. Playing this Banes, Roaches continue to come together. Another Knight is going down at the front. Lambo doesn't see it, but Lambo's making a lot of overloads so he can then build more Roaches. The problem is he just doesn't have the Roaches yet. He was supply blocked here a little bit, so unable to kind of get all of that money spent. He's got so much money to spend as well. You can see instantly he starts to build a ton more Roaches once those overloads are finished. He just didn't have the supply free, and like I say, that on top of having built a few too many drones here is going to be pretty much a killer for him, and I think Cham is going to have the execution to take this Game 1 victory, and that would be really bad. This is the Shopify Rebellion in some real, genuine trouble right now, as Cham knocking on the doorstep and is looking to come on in uninvited, probably. Yeah, I'm just going to be seeing more Roaches pouring out that Nidus at a rate that Lambo just cannot keep up with, cannot deal with. He's losing drones by the second. Cham has a worker lead, and Cham keeps on pressing through. The +1 missiles just not come into play because there's never been enough Roaches at any single point in time for Lambo. GG says Lambo, and Cham takes a Game 1 victory, and Team GP set on match point, a game away from an upset here. Well, you know, I do see it going up. It is popping. Sometimes it just takes a few moments to update as well. Lambo in the bottom right-hand side is our blue player from the Shopify Rebellion. He needs to win this to keep them alive in this best of 7. Cham has the chance to get GP their first win of the season. What a win it would be. Talk about having a hell of an opportunity from here on out if you win this one as Team GP. And GP come in week 1. They play against Alpha Rex. They go all the way to the Ace match last week as well. So Worth noting that they already have a point in the league, because when you get to an ace match, you win 1 point just for being in the ace, and then you get 2 points if you win the ace. Obviously, you get 3 points if you win outside of an ace match. So yeah, the fact, even though they're on a loss, it's a match, it's still like a 1 point against one of the stronger teams in the league, Alpha X, as we've been seeing. They have picked up a second win of the season yesterday against Liquid. And GP definitely could do with a strong run at the start of the season, because their opening matches are not easy. They play against Psystorm next week. Psystorm been looking great. Then they play Liquid. Week after that, they finally get a little bit of reprieve as they play the Ducklings, then they play Invictus, and then they play Onside to start heating up again. But they could definitely do with some wins in this early stretch, just to keep the possibility and the idea of playoffs very much so alive heading into some of those later season games. Yo, Jumping Crack Base, thank you so much for the 2-year resub. For some reason, my little soundboard has decided to pack it in for the moment, so no better, but I appreciate the 2 years. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's without Ryung. Yeah, honestly, the lack of Ryung does surprise me. He did play last week. Didn't play in the A's, but he did play. Lambo opting for Cosmic Big Map obviously takes away some of the aggressive timings. I think that's something which Lambo wants to do, take away the aggressive opportunities a little bit, or as much as possible from Cham. Is generally going to be good for you. We know that Cham really excels as a player when he's allowed to be aggressive, when he's allowed to kind of do his own thing a little bit. So, like I said, just taking those options away from him early should, like I said, typically just to benefit you quite a bit. Things just nibbling up on the hatchery. We do see a lot of lings from Lambo. There's going to be Bane Nest already coming up from Cham, as Lambo has a slightly quicker ling speed. We'll see if he can do anything with this little surge of lings. He will go Bane Nest of his own, but he just will not be ready for a little while, as I guess the main goal here is just to try and get this hatchery. For a moment he tried to cancel the Banelings, he decides in the end not to bother. He's going to have them finishing here. He just wants to try and split so he doesn't take too much damage. Wants to keep a decent amount of lings alive, obviously. Makes sense. Obviously not able to really do too much. The Baneling not quite going down. Lambo not able to control this well enough so far. The Lings and the Banes all join up together. Just going to see the Roach Roaring dropping down at the front. Just going to see the Queen popping out on the natural expansion as well. I'm just going to be seeing our, let's say, Extractors coming through. Banelings on the way out. All this being set up into for the moment here. Obviously, Cham has a few lings on the counter-attack himself now, as he now started to build a Rotor on either side. Sorry. I have to double-check who I'm talking about every now and again, because the production tabs and the players' spawn locations are the wrong way around in my head. In my eyes, the red Zerg player should be on the top of the production tab and the scoreboard as well, but that's not the case, so yeah, well, Cham is just already building roaches, so Cham is just going to send it with a ton of roaches across the map once more, but Lambo, I mean, he's building another big round of drones. If he stops here and starts to focus on roach production of his own, then I really don't feel too bad for him. But obviously it seems as though Cham just wants to come powering through, not wasting any time at all, and bringing the fight straight to Lambo. Lambo building some roaches, getting the spine. His third base already in trouble, and Lambo taking damage in the main base as well, losing 8 drones in the main. This Cham honestly just looks as though he has way too much at the moment. Very nice for him if he can catch these couple of roaches. He does take, honestly, kind of bad bailing shots there. Loses quite a few links to it. As that roaches will get rid of a few more zerglings. The other roaches will continue to take some hits. And just going to be seeing right now, Lambo is still in quite a lot of trouble. A couple of Banes trying to come in from the sides. And the roaches here from Cham still pressing forward. A couple more roaches going down. Baneling going down. Roaches all over the units of Lambo. And it is just Cham looking good to take a 2-0 and cause the upset for Team GP against the Shopify Rebellion today. I know Lambo's not been feeling 100% recently, but, well, this is obviously still a little bit of an upset. Like I say, we know Cham's been doing great, but I think we all know Lambo is still just typically a beast. Typically a very difficult player to beat, so credit to Cham, because it looks like he's more or less got it done here. Just wants to keep his roaches together. He's getting all of his low HP roaches here surrounded. Wants to go and save a few of those, right? Nice to keep them alive. He's obviously taking down the third base. He's going to back it up for a few moments. Ahead on workers, up one base and taking a base, you know, one more base on top of that to take a further lead. Spire, Evo Chimp, all coming down from Cham, who just says it's kind of like a guaranteed way to win, right? Because if you go Spire and your opponent's behind like this, they shouldn't be able to deal with the Spire. Yeah, it puts you in a position, I think, which really should just set up to close things out for the most part, honestly. I mean, it just means that you can't die to anything silly as well, right? Your opponent can't hit you with something that you just... because the mutas will just defend it. If you're far enough ahead that any timing, you would still have a good amount of roaches to be able to deal with, too. Yo, I'm Rakit, how you doing? Thank you so much for the 40-month resub on the Prime. Much appreciated. Thank you very much for resubscribing and supporting today. At this point, we're kind of just playing the waiting game. Mutas are coming out. Lambo's going to Spire of his own. Not sure he can really do much about it. Gonna show up. Lambo realizes that this game is just done, and Cham takes it home for Team GP. GG's. Team GP gets, like I said, to my a little bit of an upset, huh?